Welcome back. Welcome back to Fixing My Faith. And today is October 22nd, so time is flying by. And the topic that caught your attention today is the topic that caught my attention as I was looking through the JW.org website under donations. But you know, finally, there is a donation report. So if you don't believe me, I'll take you over to their website and we'll take a look at their donation report. It's quite interesting. So here we go. Now, when you get into the JW.org website under What's New, now I just plugged in donations. You can go right back to the home site. This is actually brand new stuff. You know, what's new is what I was looking at. And you just scroll over twice and you're into the donations. And this is the most recent report. This is the October 14th report on donations. So we're going to click into there and take a look at this donation report. Okay, so we're set up here. We're going to kind of skip through this, hop about a little bit, but the title of this talk is Your Donations Have Power.
Jehovah appreciates the effort made by his worshippers.
Now you notice, I'm just going to back up here a bit. You notice here your donations have power. It's showing money like dollar bills. It's not showing small coins or anything like that. You know, I was thinking of the widow. Jesus talked about the widow that put in the small coins. But there's nothing here about that. This is the big bills. Jesus talked about the rich ones have the big bills. They give out of their excess. But anyways, they want the big bills. Watchtower wants the big bills. Here we go.
Jehovah appreciates the effort made by his worshippers each day to show their love for his son Jesus. In his statement recorded at John 14, verse 23, Jesus himself made this point clear. If anyone loves me, he will observe my word, and my Father will love him. It is truly beautiful to...
So, that's the one scripture, their theme for this talk. I'm going to back it up here, just so you can see that. I looked some stuff up. I did some back searching. Nowhere in the Bible did Jesus ever ask for a donation. Nowhere in the Bible was Jesus involved in donations. And when he observed the widow that gave in her 2 small coins, they were in the temple. That was the temple's box of money, the money box. They were just sitting there watching. So, they're trying to make Jesus into wanting contributions. If you love Jesus, that means you will contribute. And you see, the Bible does not say that, folks. There's nowhere in the Bible. This is their only scripture. If anyone loves me, he will observe my word. It's not about money, folks. This is not about putting money in the Kingdom Hall's contribution box. Jesus is saying, observe my word. Mainly love. That's what Jesus is talking about here. But now they're turning that into money.
It is truly beautiful to observe how you have embraced the word. You are tirelessly devoting time and physical power to advance the work of preaching about the kingdom. As loyal friends of Jesus and Jehovah, you have also shown steadfast support for the kingdom through your monetary donations. Within your means, you have given generously.
So they put Jesus words in Jesus' mouth. Don't you hate that when someone puts words in your mouth? They go out and they say something and they say, well, this is what so-and-so said, and it's not even what you said. It's really bad. It's a defamation of the character Jesus. They're defaming what he stood for. He didn't stand for contributions. He didn't stand for money. He was about helping the poor, helping the needy, helping the widows. That's what Jesus was about. But anyways, let's see how they... See, this is sleight of hands, folks. Sleight of hands. This is how a magician slyly moves in with the scriptures, and he shows these pictures of all the Kingdom Hall work being done, all the building work that's being done. This is, look at us, look at what we're doing. You see, Jesus says, my kingdom is no part of this world. His kingdom was not part of the world. He was not about building buildings or building up a kingdom worthwhile and having all these people. That wasn't what it was about. He dispersed the apostles out and he said, go into the Gentiles. That happened and Christianity formed. It's already done. But JW Org's trying to reinvent it. They're trying to demonize everybody else out there that has done it. So anyways, let's see how they're dealing with donations.
Jehovah highly esteems these powerful gifts, which are expressions of love for what his Son is doing. The brothers of the governing body have asked me to express their deep appreciation for the love you have shown. We want to reassure you, your donations have a powerful impact. Since June 2020, the article...
Now, folks, this, as far as I could see on this whole thing, this is their report. This is, you know, when you kind of giving someone a report. I don't know, I've been in this org for 30 years and out for 10 watching it from the outside. I have never seen this org be transparent about donations, to show how much donations they're pulling in each year, where the donations are, you know, a chart like an accountant would do. That's what a proper business would do. It'd show its members, hey, this is all the donations coming in, this is where the money's going, and they could account for it. That's called transparency. And this is how this religion shows their bookkeeping. Here it is. I'm going to get off the screen so you guys don't miss any of this.
Donations have a powerful impact. Since June 2020, the article series How Your Donations Are Used has chronicled this power. Each one tells a story highlighting how donations are being used to further the kingdom work. Have you ever wondered what happened?
Wow, what a set of bookkeeping. Isn't that quite a set of bookkeeping for $1 billion organization to throw out to its members? Anyways, let's listen to them a little further.
Happened after the article was published. In the following video, notice how your donations continue to have a powerful effect.
After an indigenous community opposed the freedom of worship of our brothers in Ecuador, the Constitutional Court heard a court case regarding this fundamental issue. Should the indigenous communities respect international human rights? The court accepted our reasoning and decided yes. With the loving support through the donations from our brotherhood and Jehovah's blessing on this issue, the court ruling is available and has already been used for legal argument in other similar cases and in other parts of the world.
Okay, so here we see how they're using your donations. JW.org is right here. And I was wondering when I was watching this, what the heck does donations have to do with Ecuador and their fight to the indigenous people in Ecuador? Well, I did a little bit of back searching on this. And what it is there's a part of Ecuador that the Pentecostal religion is kind of running. And they're running the indigenous people while they're up against the Pentecostals. And you know what that's like for JW.org. That's a pretty tough fight. So they actually went to court and so on and so forth. So then I was watching this video about Ecuador and them fighting the Pentecostals, going to legal battle, winning. And then it's on their website. They talked about this. So it's quite interesting on how they're being upfront with the people and saying, yeah, we're using your money for legal work. Now, what I would like to know is how much of this legal work is CSA cover-ups, fighting battles, fighting stuff like that, where they're lying in court and doing all these cover-ups. How much of the money is going to that? That would be an interesting discovery. Now we're going to skim through this. They talk about
Congregation of 53
how much this has
publishers
helped them in
enjoyed a
Ecuador
memorial
and all the people there, and how they're building programs, the community, so on and so forth. And they go on to talk about this, all the buildings that they're working on. It zooms through them all. This is where all the donations is going. And this guy goes on, they talk about it. And then producing the most important book of all, the Bible. Then they talk about how they're they're using this, basically using your money to make a bunch of Bibles for Ecuadorians. And now, what is he saying?
What if you have little material?
He comes back here
on our brothers
and he starts
how you feel
using
it is
this
especially acceptable according to what a person has, not according to what a person does not have. Your generosity with what you have is what shows how much you love the Christ. And rest assured,
what is that? Your generosity with what you have goes to show how much you love the Christ. That's what he said. Let's listen to it again.
And rest assured, your donations are meaningful, appreciated, and they have power. It is our prayer that you will continue to show how much you love the. Your generosity with what you have is what shows how much you love the Christ.
Your generosity with what you have shows how much you love the Christ. I think they've got that wrong. Jesus didn't donate. But anyways, we're going to click out of here and we're going to go look at a few of these things. Now, I was just outside, so my glasses got dark, but they will lighten up here. Now, I was looking at this whole Ecuadorian thing just to see what comes up, and they were banned in Ecuador. There were some issues there, so they had to fight for their religious freedom. That's why they had to use your donations for that. Now, how are Jehovah's Witnesses affected by the news of an Ecuadorian JW mother who stabbed her baby to death because she saw the devil in him? So sad news that is. This is a JW actually that lives in the region that answered this post, and she said that their books, they burn magical books and stuff like that, but she didn't really answer the question. Now, what's interesting is if you research this a little bit further, here's what comes up. Okay, now I'm just going to play this.
We're not born as friends of God because we're born as sinful offspring of Adam. Actually, if you think about it, we're born as enemies of God. Sometimes you'll hear people say of a little baby, "Look at that little angel." But more accurate would be to say, "Look at that little enemy of God."
Okay, thanks to Wally. He put that out. And when you think of this news article here from Quora, how are Jehovah's Witnesses affected by this mother who stabbed her baby to death? Well, maybe it actually mentioned that, I think, but maybe she's seen that video, Stephen Latt. Yeah. But the timelines don't correspond, so that's just an inaccurate supposition of my own. But anyways, people hear this kind of stuff and they know this. Like what Stephen Lett said is not something new. As Jehovah's Witnesses, we were taught that we're born sinners. We're born sinners, so Stephen Lett, of course, takes it to the next level and calls babies evil, which is really bizarre. But anyways, let's move ahead here. So we asked the question, did Jesus ever ask for contributions? Well, no. In fact, he commanded his disciples in Matthew 10 and 8, he said, "You give free, you receive free." Although he did accept donations from people, he never asked nor begged for money during the ministry. Now, in that broadcast we just had, JW.org, they're coming out regularly asking for money. We ran the series at the district assembly every day. They came out at the district assembly and they played about 5 minutes of their program asking for money in different ways each day of the program. So it's becoming a thing it is in all religions. They're always asking for money. Now, what's the next question? Does Jesus say anything about donating money? Well, Jesus told his followers to give to everyone who asks, Luke 6:30, to give to those who can't repay, Luke 14:13-14, and freely give what we have freely received, Matthew 10:8. So Paul later established the church and established other things, but Jesus didn't ask for money. Did Jesus ever ask for money in the Bible? There's no biblical record of it, or receiving payment for preaching. Jesus did receive financial support. Guess who he received it from? Several women who traveled with him, including Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Susanna. And what does Jesus say about charity? Jesus taught that we should give food to the hungry, shelter to those who have none, and clothes to the poor. And when we visit the sick and those who are in prison, it's as if we are doing these things for Jesus himself. And he promised that as we do these things, we will inherit his kingdom. You can find those references at Matthew 25:34-46. So that kind of answers a lot of questions for me. Jesus didn't push anything when it comes to collecting money, giving money. That wasn't a thing. In fact, he said his kingdom was no part of the world. It wasn't about building kingdom halls, buildings all over the earth. It wasn't about having all these printing factories. Like the kingdom news would spread from language to language, and it has through Christianity. Christianity actually reaches way more people than Jehovah's Witness even reaches. Okay, so here's how they end up their little discussion here.
Your donations are meaningful, appreciated, and they have power. It is our prayer that you will continue to see the power that your love of the Christ has on your brothers. Thank you for all you have done and will continue to do.
Okay, so it's funny how they pull the love of the Christ into this whole thing. Christ has nothing to do with it. We look through the scriptures. I hunted through the scriptures. Christ had nothing to do with it. The only time he watched the donation box, he was in the temple with his disciples. He was just sitting there watching. And he says, I noticed the rich people, they put out of, because he could read their hearts, right? He says, I noticed the rich people just gave out of their excess. But that widow, those 2 small coins, which was like a penny, he says she gave everything she had. And he used that as an example, So, but it wasn't that he had a treasurer and he was collecting money. I thought he was, but the more I researched it, he wasn't. Okay, the next point I want to go to is what do other religions do and how are Jehovah's Witnesses rated? We looked at their spreadsheet, if you want to call it that. It's their spreadsheet. I did pull up something on Jehovah's Witnesses here. I can pull it up here in Canada and show you. And this, I'll get right off the screen. This is the Charity Intelligence Canada for the Watchtower. And it shows, just to get the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Canada. And they're a religion operating as a charity. Their star rating, you see, they don't even have a star. They can't even rate them. Why? Because they're not transparent. There's no financial transparency. You see, they get an X, financial transparency. They know that there's a certain amount of money coming in and out. They show that it's coming in and out going to New York, but there's no transparency. The results of reporting F, demonstrated impact low. They don't need funding. They have lots of money. They have free labor. So that's how they are viewed in Canada. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not the only religion that people are having trouble getting transparency out of the religion. I'm going to take you just briefly over to the LDS. The LDS, same problem. So what did they do? Well, they gave a whole pile of money to humanitarian needs. That's how they handled the problem. And the church doled out more than $1 billion to aid for its 17 million plus members and millions more around the globe. So The $1.3 billion the church spent in 2023, according to the Faith's annual Caring for Those in Need report released Thursday, went to welfare and self-reliance assistance for members and a wider relief effort throughout the world without regard to the religious affiliation. So they even donated to what we would call worldly people, Jehovah's Witnesses would call worldly people. They helped a lot of people with that money. The contributions come as the church continues to amass wealth, estimated by outside analysis at $265 billion. That's what they estimate, outside analysis. See, again, the Mormon church is not divulging this and saying, hey, here's our spreadsheet. It's outside people. And here's the other thing. They're facing increasing pressure. There's other articles here, but we're not going to go to them. They're facing increasing pressure from insiders and outsiders to give more to humanitarian causes. You know, here's a religion with 265 million in its reserves, and 1.3 billion is really not much. Like, it's just, so everything coming in according to Jesus should be going out. That's according to Jesus. So these guys, do they follow it? No. I looked a little deeper in the Mormons. You know, they do have the Caring for Those in Need 2023 summary. They got a nice little video here.
Members and friends of the church, thank you for volunteering this past year in your congregations and communities, and for responding
kind of shows
to
how they
disasters
get in on the
around the world.
hurricanes. And I'm going to skip through this. They feed people. They have clothing. They plant. They do a lot more than I've ever seen a Jehovah's Witness do, or what they can say. So these religions, they have to be doing something with some of this money. And at least the Mormons are one of the religions getting out on the front lines. So yeah, they get involved. They serve the community. They go out and paint the communities. There's a community thing here. So they do a lot of that, and they get a lot of recognition for that. So they build, here's how they kind of pitch it on their website. So we move along, and when I researched Jehovah's Witnesses to see if they're involved in anything like that, I couldn't find anything except what's on their website, what we just watched. You know, they're building some kingdom halls in Ecuador. Your donations are going to these countries, building kingdom halls and Bibles in their language and stuff like that. It's just more a printing factory and building Kingdom Hall Empire. Or is it? So I did a little bit more research, and up comes exJW. Now, exJW did an article on Jehovah's Witnesses. They create 3 new businesses in Ireland to handle financial assets. And this article was put out by Miss Usato, if you know who she is. And so she wrote an article on this. Now, her article is entitled Jehovah's Witnesses Create 3 New Businesses in Ireland to Handle Financial Assets. I'm not going to cover this whole article. I could probably spend a video on this, and I think I might. But I'm just going to read this to everyone, and I'm going to put a link to this article in this video. But here it is. In August of 2024, Jehovah's Witnesses established 3 new firms in Ireland to handle financial assets and create a strategy for enhancing their financial management capabilities. Mina Asset Management, Mina Treasury Services, and Lepta Payment Solutions. This development highlights the group's growing financial enterprise and raises questions about the sources and uses of their substantial financial capabilities, predominantly funded by donations from their members. Wooden boxes engraved with the word contribution is a notable feature of every Kingdom Hall. Since 2000, there have been many forms of giving money to various legal corporations established by Jehovah's Witnesses. Recently, they have made additional significant real estate transactions as part of their strategy to liquidate high-value properties. This includes ongoing sales and relocations related to their global headquarters and regional facilities. So this is an excellent article. If you have a chance and you want to read it. But I'm thinking I might just make a video on it. It's these things have to be brought forth as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're a Jehovah's Witness even, tell me in the comments, are Jehovah's Witnesses transparent? Do you know how much the Watchtower makes in Canada each year from donations? Now, according to the last census in 2019, they pulled in $105 million in Canada, and most of that went to New York, and there's no transparency. They don't know what they did with the money. Now, probably a bunch built kingdom halls and so forth and ran operating and overhead. But Jehovah's Witnesses are not transparent. Mormons are not transparent. It's outsiders that are pushing at them, and they know that they have this wealth, and they're pushing these religions to do something with their wealth. So my question to you as the audience, is that what Jesus intended? As JW.org said in their video, be like Jesus, be giving, follow Jesus' lead. You see, that's sleight of hand. That's a magician using the Bible to get what he wants. And what does he want? Money. And they're getting it. Well, folks, until next time, keep living your life with love. We receive free, we give free, we help our neighbors, and that's really all that counts. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.